Welcome to TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans by wrestling fans on the web today. I'm John. That's my court and commentary Ashton, and this is the week in review. Now, because we have Saturday night's main event tonight, and because we did preview predictions for that show last night, you can go check that out on the channel ahead of our live reactions for Saturday night's main event. We are not going to talk about Raw and SmackDown from this week. I would say that they were quite fun. I'm happy on the SmackDown side that Meechin and Chelsea are going to be the finals of the Women's United States Championship Tournament taking place tonight at Saturday night's main event. We're going to focus on NXT here and maybe a little bit of AEW because I know I actually did watch some clips. Really though, when it comes to AEW, who really gives a shit? I know I don't. So yeah, this is primarily going to be an NXT based episode. And I will say, I thought NXT was solid this week. Seeing Oba and Trick share the same ring over the NXT championship just felt so right. It really felt like not just the future of NXT, but really, especially more so Trick, because I have to feel like a call up. He will be getting called up in 2025. The future of WWE as a whole. I mean, these two guys, I think, are really going to do a lot of heavy lifting in the next decade or so. And so, yeah, I thought NXT was solid. Before we get into the nooks and crannies of it all, though, partner, how'd you feel about NXT this week?
It was fun. I enjoyed NXT this week. I thought it was a solid episode, and I mean, it's also worth noting that it was also fallout from Deadline.
Yes, yes. Deadline, which was a solid show in its own right. We know that Oba and Julia were our Iron Survivors for men's and women's, respectively. And speaking of Julia, we opened the show with her,
Mm-hmm.
and she starts to talk. I think she only gets a few sentences in before Roxanne interrupts. And Roxanne more or less says, what she always says, that she's the best. She runs the division. Her and Julia have done this before, and that it ended with Roxanne being the champion. New Year's Evil isn't going to be any different. But then Roxanne kind of gestures that Julia might not even make it to New Year's Evil. And then there's Cora Jade with a bat. So it seems like they're going to put the hit on Julia, and they start getting the jump on her. And oh, by the way, because Julia might have been expecting Stephanie Vaquer, which I feel like there's a longer story going on between Stephanie and Julia, given that Stephanie was not pinned in Iron Survivor and she came this close to winning it, but Julia was able to nab it. Stephanie got taken out backstage by Cora and her bat. So we know that Julia can't count on Stephanie in this instance. So they start putting the boots to Julia, and then Kalani makes the save because nobody defends others like Lani, apparently. And Kalani and Julia kind of retake the ring. And so that's how that segment kind of ends. And that segues later into a main event tag match, Cora and Roxanne versus Kalani and Julia. We even have a backstage segment like later on in the show, where they're kind of checking on Stephanie in the trainer's room. We don't see Stephanie because they're just coming back from visiting her. And, Kalani cuts a little promo about how, Cora wants to assume she's the same Kalani, but the Kalani she is now would eat that Kalani for lunch. And they're going to teach Cora and Roxanne what goes around comes around. And she's sick of them thinking that they run the division. And then when it came to the tag team match, ultimately Cora and Roxanne would prevail. It was a fun match, but Kalani would eat the pin, which is obviously the smart go. Julia just won Iron Survivor. No way you're going to make her weak before New Year's Evil. And then things kind of broke down, but then Cora's alone in the ring, and Stephanie's looking to get hers back, so she's kind of brawling with Cora to end the show. Well, actually, that doesn't end the show, but it's like the final in-ring segment. We'll get to what the actual ending thing was for NXT in a little bit. But yeah, I like the shine the women got here. I think the build up to the New Year's Evil matchup is going quite well. I am really thinking that Julia just wins here, new year, new champion kind of deal. But we will see what happens. Anything you want to say about the build or whatever until I continue on this recap?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I'm looking forward to Julia and Roxanne having another match. I'm really hoping that Julia goes into it under the assumption that Cora is going to interfere and gets help from someone, maybe Kalani. I don't know.
Yeah. Um, we then get see, and I'm like doing these things in aggregate just to connect all the threads so we can kind of save time. We then get Ethan Page's kind of arc lately. because, he lost Iron Survivor and he had a complex about it, which the funny thing is, like, you've been such a douchebag for so long that I really don't even give a shit. But then the other thing is, you're not even a compelling douchebag. Like, if Kevin Owens was to have this story, now granted, I have a heavy Kevin Owens bias, obviously, but I feel like if KO was to have this kind of story about, like, I really am losing a lot lately, I'm kind of doubting myself, like, I would find that compelling because we know Kevin's psychology all the way back from NXT. Ethan Page doing it, given that we've watched him in AEW and he's just been the same guy. He's kind of got the Pete Dunne problem in that way. I really don't care. I don't care that this dude was like, it used to be NX me, but I've been losing and now it's just NX we or whatever the fuck. I was like, I don't care, dude. I don't like, you're boring. So he's complaining about that. He's in the locker room with a bunch of the other guys. Tony D comes up to him and Tony is we're like, hey, Paige, I saw you at Deadline. I feel kind of bad for you. Why don't you and I go one on one for the North American Championship? And Ethan pulls his bullshit, which is again why I don't find him interesting. And he's like, Tony, I made NXT NX me as NXT champion. And to take that title match would just be a step down. And then Tony's like, all right, who wants the shot? And then Ethan immediately jumps on it. Now, this kind of annoyed me because if you want me to at least care a little bit about this story, I would have loved for Ethan to kind of just like put his foot in his mouth and maybe still eventually challenge for the North American title in like another week or two. But I would have liked another like unknown to get that shot tonight anyway, and maybe Ethan's even watching in the crowd or something. But no, the idea that he's immediately able, like, take it back and be like, no, 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 no. Like, we know that the Ethan character is insecure and that he boasts a lot, but again, I just find it uninteresting. So we do get that match set, Tony versus Ethan for the title. And I'm just like, whatever, I guess. Um, Another thing that I don't really care about, which is a shame because I feel like they finally really got a lot of momentum. Charlie Dempsey says to NQCC, he's proud of him. He's doing all that stuff, so they're kind of like strategizing, regrouping after Deadline. Now, what I do care about is that OTM, including Jada, was kind of starting stuff with NQCC. That's cool. I'm fine with that. And I love this trend of Ren constantly getting in things that are like, you know, maybe too much for her, maybe above her pay grade, right? What I don't care about is later in the show, Lexis King is running in Charlie Dempsey again, and they're going to run it back for the Heritage Cup. Now, I will grant that I actually do think, on the whole, Lexis King is marginally more entertaining as a babyface, like in this role, but I still don't want to see him vie for the Heritage Cup again. You lost. Let's get a new challenger. Like, I would love, for instance, like an Axiom to challenge for it, given that he got the pin at Deadline and that these guys have been kind of talking about maybe we should focus on singles too. It'd be interesting to see Charlie want to take it out on Axiom for ruining NQCC getting the tag titles. That would be interesting to me. Lexis King in a rematch does nothing for me.
No.
But also, speaking of things that like are or are not interesting, while I'm glad that OTM is doing something, they're not getting a tag title matchup next. We know that Fraxium is going to be defending next week against Gallus. Fucking why? And as
so
far as
much,
Jada
dude.
goes,
Oh my God.
oh wait, what were you gonna say, brother?
I said I hate it so much, dude. Oh my God.
Yeah, no, it's awful. And I wanted to ask you because I know you're huge on Jada. Like, I'm sure NQCC is just a pit stop for her, but where does like she go from here? Do you think she tries to circle back, getting revenge on Fatal Influence? Because I am worried that Jada might get lost in the shuffle now, and I'm wondering how you feel about that.
Um, yeah, I'm actually excited about her and OTM feuding with No Quarter Catch Crew. I really like that. I'm hoping they add a fourth member so that we can get a full 4v4 intergender or at least mixed tag match. I would really like
Yeah,
that. That would be cool. Who do you, I
that
mean,
would be.
they wouldn't just bring Reggie back, would they?
I don't think they would. No, that is a
He
really
got
cool idea,
released,
though.
didn't he?
Yeah, I thought he got released. Yeah,
Yeah, so I'm wondering if OTM's going to find a fourth member. I mean, there are some really promising prospects that have been wrestling on NXT Level Up lately. There's this one dude, I forget his name, but he's another really big dude, Jasper something. I forget his name. NXT wrestler Jasper. Troy, Jasper Troy. He might be a good fit for OTM as like a fourth member. He kind of has the look that he would fit in there because he's 6'5", 250, and he kind of wrestles with that like mean streak, kind of like what you'd expect to fit in that OTM style. So maybe if they want to have like a full blown faction warfare feud with No Quarter Catch Crew, and you just get these like big beefy brawler dudes and Jada, who is like a bigger woman and does the brawling style as well, versus these more technically sound guys, and then of course Ren, who's also more technically sound in her own right. It could be a really interesting faction warfare, and they could bring in someone like Jasper Troy as a fourth to kind of even out the numbers. I think that would be really cool. I would love that actually.
Yeah, yeah. I agree with you, man. I'm curious, like, how long this is gonna last, or if this is just a one-off. And like, if it is a one-off, then I hope somehow that again Jada finds her way back in the crosshairs of Fatal Influence, just so she could get her hands on that Women's North American Championship. Because honestly, forget even just 2025. Well, I mean, no, it would have to be 2025 because Stand and Deliver would be in 2025. So what I should say is, come 2025, and I'm thinking Stand and Deliver. If Jada Parker isn't in a major match at Stand and Deliver, and I'm thinking for a championship, which it would have to be the Women's North American Championship, because I'm thinking Julia and Stephanie are going to have the NXT Women's title picture locked up. I just think that's a misfire by HBK. I think she's one of the hottest acts, not just in the women's division. She may be one of the hottest acts in the entire brand, given the crowd support she's gotten, given her mic work. So I really feel like you got to tap into that. You can't like cool her down now. You got to keep your foot on the gas. So I am curious what that's going to lead to. We then get Javon Evans versus Wes Lee. I thought this was a really fun back and forth matchup. Do you have any thoughts on this?
Yeah, no, this was a really fun match for sure. If I remember correctly, this was like what this ended like DQ, right? There was no like
No,
finish.
Javon beat Wes straight
Oh,
up, man.
Javon did win. Okay, good.
Yeah,
I was like, I wasn't sure. I could have sworn that like this had some kind of a fuck finish, but no, Javon. Did Javon win with like a crazy twisty thing off the top rope? He didn't
yeah.
win
I
with
think
the
he
big.
won with his finish, middle of the road, right?
Oh, I didn't know that was his proper finish. Because when I think of Javon, when I think of a finisher for Javon, I'm thinking like top rope super cutter.
Yeah, no, I think that's more like a late match move, setup move, like signature move, but I don't think it's like a finisher proper.
Okay.
Um, because I really do think it's that twisting kind of press or
Oh,
press splash.
well, okay then.
That
Yeah,
yeah,
that's still though really cool though that he did beat Wes with that. I'm not really sure where Wes goes from here. With Javon though, it's interesting because we know that Oba is immediately getting that title shot against Trick, and it's probably also safe to assume that he's going to win, at least in my mind. And I think you probably agree with that too. Uh,
yes, yes.
but then Javon feels really hot right now, and like he's kind of being primed for a world title shot as well. And I don't think they're going to want to waste that immediately after Trick wins the title or after Oba wins the title. So how are they going to kind of keep Javon preoccupied for the first like 2-3 months of 2025 before they really have him set his sights on the world title and build up to that stand and deliver match that you and I are expecting?
I don't know. They're gonna have to figure it out. I'm curious how they will though, because it's very obvious to me that Javon's on the come up. I think both singles matches he's had with Wes Lee, he's won, which begs another question for Wes Lee fans, of which I would regard myself as one and you as one as well. Was turning him heel a waste of time? Should have they just called him up to the main roster as a babyface? Because like I don't know what Wes is doing here anymore. He feels a bit directionless to me, but I don't know if I'm alone in that. I'm curious how you feel about that.
You said Javon feels directionless or
No,
Wes?
no, 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 no. Let me say that again. I'm saying what I asked you. Let me just start over. I asked if you felt like Wesley turning heel was a waste of time because I feel like in both of his singles matches with Javon, he's lost. He didn't win Iron Survivor. The biggest thing he did was break up his tag team, and he did win the street fight, but he even lost the first match in that feud against Nash Carter.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if it would have been better to call him up as a babyface.
Yeah. I mean,
Like, yeah,
I hated it as soon as it happened. I mean, Javaris is right there with me. There were a lot of us in the Discord that as soon as West turned heel, we were like, what the fuck? This makes no sense. This is garbage. This segment sucks. This is bad. And like, I don't think that, and really, I mean, you could even take it a step further and say that everything that Wes has done since then has lowered his stock because his promos as a heel have been dog shit too.
Yeah. I wanted
So
to, yeah. No,
it
continue.
seems like maybe they did it as a way to just kind of like test the waters and see, like, oh, well, what has Wes not done in NXT? What can we do with him that's going to be new and challenging for him? And it's like, well, he hasn't been a heel yet, so let's try that. And it's just colossal failure, you know?
Yeah, I mean, look, my jokes and my shtick aside, of like loving heeldom and betraying friendship and all that stuff, I wanted to keep an open mind to it because Wes is an incredible athlete, and I feel like he does a lot of great stuff in the ring. And it's like, sure, you might as well see, like, if somebody's really good as a babyface, nothing wrong with that. Somebody's only really good as a heel, nothing wrong with that. But I think the real transcendent stars are people that are good at both. And we know that Wes is just really good at being a babyface. And again, nothing wrong with that. But yeah, I would say take him off TV for a little bit, give him kind of a reset, and then debut him on the main roster as a babyface. I feel like this heel experiment was a bust. I don't see where he even goes from here now.
I mean, dude, the
And
thing is, I feel the same way about Javon too, though. Not that anything's been a bust, but just that I don't see where he goes from here. Like he just beat Wes. Now what?
well, the only option I could think of that doesn't like completely annoy me, but I still really want it to be OTM is if him and Cedric get another shot at the tag titles
Yeah.
and either win them or maybe like Cedric for some reason would turn heel on Javon and they would feud for a little bit and that would kind of eat up some time. But yeah, I mean that's the only viable path I could think of because I don't see why Javon, for instance, would be in the crosshairs of Tony D'Angelo, for instance.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. And Tony D's a face too.
Exactly, exactly. So I don't really see I don't yeah, I think the tag titles are the only viable path for Evans as far as I'm concerned. So I don't know.
Maybe Heritage Cup.
That could be a possibility because I actually really enjoyed Javon and Charlie's matchup for the Heritage Cup. If you wanted to run that back,
Yeah,
I
that's
would
the
not
thing too. Is
complain at
he's
all.
already? I mean, here's my thing, dude. This is so weird because like Javon beat Wes, and like Wes has been here forever, and Wes is probably more primed for a main roster call up than Javon right now. But like Javon could show up on Raw or SmackDown next week, and I'd be like, oh, okay, this is why. Like that would make sense. Like it would track in my mind. I'd be like, oh yeah, this makes more sense. But like, I still feel like they're gonna have to get. I don't know. I feel like Javon is an enigma for me, and the main reason I say that is because like this dude comes in with years of experience under his belt already. Like he was killing it in DPW before he even got to NXT. He is tall, so he has like that check mark, checked off as far as like things that could make him a main event star in the company. He is charismatic, he's likable, he is freaky athletic, he's a good worker. The only thing that he doesn't really have is that he's not a great promo, and like he's charming enough that it's like that Jeff Hardy factor of like I don't care that you're not super like good at like expressing yourself in a way that is going to connect with everyone because I want to like you anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and he's so young, dude. He could find
Yeah.
his voice in 5 years for all we know.
Well,
Like,
that's kind of my point though is that like this dude is an enigma because he's almost like too good for his age to the point that I don't know even like me having been here for years and years and years and thrown out all these different ideas of like you could do this with that person, you could do that with this person, like they could have done this, they could have done that, hindsight booking, foresight booking, all this bullshit. I don't know what the fuck to do with Javon Evans.
yeah,
What do you do with this dude?
I don't know. I don't know.
Like
I mean,
you
that's
can't
for
just
yeah.
slap the world title on him because you got to give Oba a respectable reign because it's fucking Oba.
Yes. Yeah, and plus, Javon deserves like a nice story for his first major title win because
Exactly.
I feel like he is that kind of babyface that if you give him that kind of story, it'll get a huge pop.
Yeah.
Um,
It's weird because Javon like immediately showed up, and like as soon as he showed up in NXT, he was just instantly one of the top like three ish best performers in the promotion immediately.
yeah.
At least male performers, because the women's division is insane. Um, but like you can't put any titles on him right now because you've already got something going on with Trick. You've got Oba right there. You can't just not give Oba a nice long lengthy girthy reign. You're not going to give him the North American title, at least not anytime soon, because you're not going to have him dethrone Tony, because the only way to do that is to either turn Tony heel again, which would feel a little whiplashy, or have Javon go heel, which also would make no sense. He already had a shot against Charlie in the Heritage Cup. It feels like they've spent so much time building up Javon Evans as this like ultimate underdog who is talented enough to beat anyone, but can't quite get the job done against anyone, that I just don't know what's left for him. So maybe the tag titles really is the best place to go. Stick him with an established talent like Cedric. But even then, like, I'm terrified, dude. I am genuinely terrified that Gallus is this fucking racist ass. Maybe that's the way to go. Maybe you do have Gallus beat Fraxium, but then you just immediately have Cedric and Javon beat their asses within like a month for those tag titles. Like, take them off of them immediately.
I mean, God, you're not wrong. I just can't like so it's not that you're wrong logically, it's just that emotionally I can't fully embrace that idea because like I just that would hot potato the tag titles, and I actually feel like even though I really don't like the dweebs, at least they're being treated with like a veneer of credibility, given how well they've been running. And I don't just
I
want to
think
hot
that there
potato
are
them
some
from.
instances where hot potatoing a title works when, especially when you want to go from one team to another and they're both aligned the same. So in this case, we want to go from a babyface team to a babyface team. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like you have a
yeah.
transitional champion, in this case, garbage ass Gallus. And I wish they would have chosen a better transitional team. But like,
It
if we're
should have
gonna,
been OTM.
yeah, I mean, they're a
Yeah.
heel team that would have been great for sure. But then maybe we get maybe it's just not maybe I'm jumping the gun trying to fantasy book Javon versus Oba for Stand and Deliver. Maybe what we're really going to do is we're going to have an all black tag team championship match at Stand and Deliver, and it's going to be Cedric and Javon defending against OTM.
Yeah.
I mean, we wouldn't
Yeah.
be pissed about that, would we?
No, I don't think so. No. Yeah, I mean, because again, it is a problem that they're gonna have to address.
Or hell,
As far
fuck,
as like,
man,
what do we?
maybe
Yeah,
Gallus fails, and maybe OTM are the ones that get the job done against Fraxium, and then maybe Javon and Cedric go after them, and maybe we get the same exact match, but the title's on OTM going into it instead.
yeah, that could be. That could be. Yeah, yeah. I don't know. Again, it's gonna be very interesting to see. It's gonna be very interesting to see like how HBK handles this long term.
Javon is such
Um,
a weird case, man. I feel like I almost feel like it's almost a shame that Javon's in NXT at all, and it's because of his promos. His promos are just weird. Like he's almost too natural of a speaker. Like he's almost better suited for fucking AEW. As much as I hate to say that, because he has this very off the cuff, natural Zoomer speaking style, and that does not fit the WWE promo style very well at all, and it feels like they're going to try and do their best to kind of hammer that out of him and get him to kind of cut WWE style promos while he's in NXT, because everything else is there. Everything else, literally, like he checks every other box. He's fucking like I'm sorry, but you can't hold up Ricochet's ass, who held several different championships on the main roster in WWE, and Javon, and tell me that there's anything Ricochet does better than Javon.
yeah, 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 no, for sure.
Like Javon does not cut worse promos than Ricochet,
No, no,
and you put him in the ring, and like anything Ricochet does, I'm not convinced Javon can't do just as well, if not better.
right,
And I'm
right.
also convinced that Javon probably has more believable selling and bumping and stuff than Ricochet, because Ricochet always did like cartoony, over the top style selling and stuff.
Yes.
And Javon
Yeah,
is
I
much
agree with
more
you on
like
all counts, man.
believable babyface style selling, which I love.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, Javon is a weird case for sure. Sean's got a lot to think through and think about as far as like how he wants to handle Javon, so we'll have to see how it goes. Um After that, we get this weird thing, Sol Ruka kind of lamenting how close she was to winning Women's Iron Survivor, and she's actually like kind of vibing with Zario, which is a weird visual that I didn't know. Like I kind of
Aren't
dug it,
they?
honestly.
Aren't they going to be in like a tag team match soon? Like, are they teaming together? Didn't people like confront them in this segment?
Well, yeah, Jakara and Lash confronted them
Yeah. So
and
we're
being
getting
like,
that match next week, right?
yeah, exactly. And then they were pretty much like, if one of us was in Iron Survivor, we would have won it. And, they had a whole thing about that. And so, yeah, we'll have to see how that goes for them. And yeah, so I really like the idea though of a Zarya Sol Ruka team. So
Sol
I'm
Ruka's
curious how
another
it'll
one,
go.
man. Sol Ruka could get called up right now. Sol Ruka could have gotten called up months ago. And
Yeah,
like,
yeah, dude, Sol Ruka's so good. I think she
yeah,
really proved herself in Women's Iron Survivor that she is ready for a call up.
I think
Absolutely.
it's weird because like Roxanne is the current champion, and yet I feel like Sol Ruka and Jada Parker have brighter futures on main roster promotion, like on Raw and SmackDown, than Roxanne does.
Yeah, because well, I just think in terms of like overall overness, like how they'll connect with the crowd, like I do feel like a babyface Soul, really a babyface Jada too, because again, she has that Stone Cold energy in spades. Roxanne, if they try and make her a heel on the main roster, I don't think she'll connect as much. A babyface though, she could maybe be of like a Daniel Bryan level to me, possibly depending on the booking.
Yeah,
So I
but you
don't
know
know.
what? I always do that to myself where I forget that Roxanne is basically in like her nerfed era right now because they're making her work heel and like that's just not natural for her and she's such a natural baby face
Yeah, exactly,
and like main
exactly.
roster baby face Roxanne is gonna get over like gangbusters.
Oh my god, dude, absolutely. I think people are going to love her.
Yeah.
Absolutely love her. So yeah, again, the future of women in WWE is going to be fucking incredible. And the present already is, but I feel like the future they're going to like stacks upon stacks, it's going to be a good time. You know what isn't a good time? Tyson and Tyreek losing to Hank and Tank. Um
This match really, really annoyed me, man.
well, you know what else
Hank
annoyed
Ledger
me?
really, really annoys me, man.
I know. Anybody that is in our Discord, which that's $3 a month, so please join it. They should know how you feel about Anka Tank and particularly Tank Ledger. Um, but what annoys me even more, I'm hoping they're not already going to break up Tyson and Tyreek because they're clearly doing this story where Tyreek doesn't want to do the sportsmanship, doesn't want to do any of that crap. He wants to win. That's what he wants to do. And that makes sense because you win, you get on PLEs. You win, you get championship opportunities. That's how it goes. Um, but you know, Tyson wants to be the babyface, shake hands, acknowledge, like, hey, you got the better of us, whatever. Now, I don't know if they're going to do a DIY thing where Tyson comes around or Tyreek is going to be like, screw it, and they're already going to split these guys up. But I hate both options because, and I know that's weird coming from me, but for one thing, I learned my lesson from Wesley. Just because you could turn heel doesn't mean you should. And then, second of all, I really, really liked the initial video packages we got introducing these guys. And that was the babyface tag team I wanted of these proud black men that come from very different backgrounds. One I think was studying to be a doctor, the other one was very involved in his community, but very positive representations of black masculinity, which I mean, credit to the New Day, recent writing aside, which we'll have to see where that goes. I'm not ready to throw it out yet because something really might be cooking, but we'll see. But for over a decade, I think New Day did a lot to rehabilitate and kind of put in a positive place black masculinity in WWE specifically. Uh, and I wanted to see these guys continue that, and the Street Profits too, but I would say to a lesser degree, mainly because they're not really getting pushed hard. It's like a start and stop thing with them. These guys could have been special though, because these guys, unlike the New Day, which felt larger than life, and Street Profits, which they're cool, but they feel very much like fit for pro wrestling. These guys just felt like down to earth guys.
Yeah.
And I mean that in a really positive way. They're like, hey, we're connected to our community. We care about our people, but we also love wrestling. And we just want, and like, I like that. I don't know. I thought that was very endearing. I think black wrestling fans deserve characters of all shades and flavors, whether babyface or heel, because as I've said before in the past, I haven't said it in a minute, the black experience isn't a monolith. And I think you deserve that kind of nuance and variety. But I liked how grounded these guys were. And already, if you're going to turn them heel or maybe even split them up, like I have really hated the booking and the handling of Tyson and Tyreek, man. It's actually been like a rare misfire for Michaels, who seems to really understand that like black excellence equals ratings on NXT. Like, I think he does have an understanding of this, but Tyson and Tyreek is just a place where I think he's really misstepped. But how do you feel about all this? Where do you feel it's go? Do you feel they're going to split up? Do you think they're just going to replicate DIY in NXT and just like, oh, Tyson got one over and now he's going heel? What do you think?
I don't know, man. It's weird because like they had a similar story kind of with Blade and Inoue earlier this year, where I think it was Inoue wasn't really feeling Brinley Reese's like positivity training that she was doing with them, like trying to teach them how to stay positive and work through it and stuff like that. And he was like, "No, I'm not feeling it." And the other guy wanted to go through with it and stuff like that. And we just straight up haven't seen them in months, either one of them.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
really hope that that's not the fate of TNT because I like them and I liked Inoue and Blade too. I just, dude, I really don't know. I would hope that they wouldn't be so creatively bankrupt that they would do the exact same angle in NXT that they just did on the main roster like 2 weeks later.
Yeah. Yeah. And dude, I'm glad you actually brought up a no fan play, because where the fuck are those
Well,
guys?
that's what I just
Like,
said. We haven't seen them in months.
yeah, well, no, and I'm just kind of like doubling down and saying, like, what the fuck? Because that was a team that I felt like was actually building momentum and getting over with the crowd with their matches. And then you just interject Brinley, who I don't even dislike Brinley, but that felt weird from the jump. You guys can go back in the archive. You and I immediately felt like, is this some white savior bullshit? We weren't really feeling this, whatever. And then it turns into nothing. It
Yeah.
turns into nothing.
Idris
So
Inoue hasn't wrestled at all since August, and Malik Blade, his last match was against Tavion Heights on NXT Level Up in October. So those guys have just not been around since October.
okay, so Foster reiterating that Inoue is injured currently, and that could be a reason why. So I'll take some of the blame off of Michaels, but Malik still seems like a very talented guy. I'm not saying like we've got a Wesley 2.0 in terms of a tag team guy becomes a singles guy and he really succeeds, but you should always look at all of your options. And I don't know. I just
Also,
I
you
just
know
feel
what
bad
though?
for those
Then
guys.
maybe Tyson Dupont, the one that likes, uh, you know, sportsmanship, is gonna find Malik Blade backstage somewhere and be like, "Man, my tag team partner doesn't like sportsmanship," and then Malik's gonna be like, "Man, my tag team partner doesn't like Brinley Reese's positivity training," and they can be like, "Hey, maybe we should team up."
Yeah, I hate that idea though. Jesus Christ. Um, they got to figure this out, man. Because I think Tyson and Tyree could be a really special tag team. I like what they bring to the table, but I'm just uncomfortable. Maybe hyperbolically so, but I'm uncomfortable where things seem to be going with these guys. So we'll have to see.
Yeah.
Moving on though, because again we said like they lost this match, so that's what happened. We get God addressing us, the God King Obafemi.
Oh, bah.
Dude, you're the main Oba stan here. I mean, I could proselytize about our God King too, but I know like you've even said on your Blue Sky, which you should follow both of us on Blue Sky, that he's just your favorite. Did you say he's your favorite male performer in the industry or just in
Yes,
WWE? 'Cause I don't want to
in
put
the
words in your
industry,
mouth.
in the entire
In the
industry.
industry.
Yeah.
So you are like all in on this fucking dude. What did you think of Oba's segment here with Trek?
Oh, I loved it. It was fantastic. He talked about how dominant he was at Deadline and Iron Survivor. Uh, Talked about how he was going to reclaim his rightful position on the throne at New Year's Evil. Um, Trick came out and unfortunately got immediately cut off by Eddie Thorpe. But Eddie Thorpe, this was, God, I still am not entirely sure how I feel about this because Eddie Thorpe comes out and tries to use his position, or not his position, his status as a Native American, as coming from an oppressed people, to try and basically check Oba's privilege in a way. He literally uses the phrase, "Me and my people have been through enough," and says, "You attacked me last week. You took me out. I've never been hit that hard by anyone in my life, and the only person strong enough to do that is you." And Oba, he thanked him for the compliment, but then he was like, "I'm done wasting my time with you." And then he just turned away from Eddie and faced Trick. And he just started talking to Trick. And we just got a conversation between Trick and Oba while Eddie was just in the ring seething, just standing there. And when Trick and Oba were done talking, Oba walked out. And then Eddie confronted Trick. And he's like, "You're supposed to be a leader. You're the NXT champion. Why didn't you press Oba at all?" And Trick's just like, "Shut the hell up. You want a title shot, you got one." So Eddie got
Yeah.
what he wanted, and it was revealed at the very end of the show that Eddie wasn't attacked by anyone, that he faked it to get out of Iron Survivor and get a free title shot, and it worked. And so they're making Eddie the heel who uses his oppressed identity, I guess, uh as leverage to gain opportunities. And I really don't think I like that writing.
You know what's funny, man? Like, I'm not saying with Eddie Thorpe specifically, I'm saying the idea of an indigenous heel could be fascinating because if anybody has a legitimate gripe with the US entire, it is the indigenous population.
Yeah.
I mean, the history is fucking horrific. And to make that a heel, like, again, is a very fascinating prospect. But the thing is, and again, I don't mean to be hyperbolic here, I'm just using this as an example. You would need Daniel Bryan levels of charisma when he was like the eco savior. And
Yeah.
he had that whole run where he was speaking truth to power, but he was such a douche about it. He got booed, even though he was right.
Yeah.
That's the kind of indigenous heel I would love
Yeah.
because an indigenous heel that would throw
So basically, like a Muhammad Hassan style indigenous heel.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, dude, a heel that would throw the history of violence against indigenous people from the US and the colonial violence and everything else, but doing it as a heel. That would be heel of the year material for me from the jump. Because I love heels that are politically and morally right, but they can't help but get in their own way. But
That type
that's
of
not any
heel would require a bare minimum of uh two people, because you would need one, and I really don't think that you could do this with one person because it would basically require a fucking unicorn, right? Because you would need someone who is extremely educated about Native American history and what Native Americans were legitimately put through by the invading British, who then laid claim to the lands and committed the genocide in the first place, right? And then,
yes,
of course, the history of like all of the compromises that the natives were forced to make, just in order to survive the insurgents of the whites, right? Um,
yes.
but then the second one would have to be the actual heel character, because like I said, what unicorn are we going to find where we can get an actual good professional wrestler who is legitimately a Native American, who has the look, who has the ability, who has the promo chops, who is also educated to that degree? Like, good luck. Like, you need I think the most likely scenario is you get a writer that knows the shit, and you get the performer that can do the acting. You know what I mean?
I know. I get what you're saying. I get
And
what you're saying.
Eddie
It's just
Thorpe is neither.
no, and that's the problem. Eddie Thorpe is neither. So like I feel a disconnect when but what I can credit Eddie Thorpe though is like shut showing me that there is a gimmick I want in pro wrestling,
Dude,
but we may just never get it. I
we
don't
might have
know.
even missed out on one of them because remember the breakout tournament this past year, we had Trey Bearhill. He could have been that performer
Yeah, we'll never know. I mean, yeah,
because
or
he
maybe
had,
we will.
dude, he
Yeah,
had the size, he had a great look. If you would have given that dude a really good writer, I bet you he could have pulled that shit off. He was awesome. He was huge. He was like
yeah.
6'4", 300 pounds. He had it. He had it. And they let
And
him
and,
go.
and
They
that's another thing
released
too.
his
To,
ass.
to be the size of a bear hill and be able to exact your revenge on people that you just feel like is colonizers, because as a heel you would just use colonizer as a blanket term for anybody getting in your way from what you want. Oh, you have the championship, you colonize, like, and then just imposing their will and kicking their, like, I don't know, there's something there, but Eddie Thorpe doesn't have. I really just hate to be rude about it, but I'm just gonna say he just doesn't have the talent for it. Um, and that's not even the direction they want to go. They want him to use, which is also, if I could just say on the more political side, because we have said straight up that we are a political podcast, it feels a bit sus from Shawn Michaels that he would like present it this way, like, oh, I'm going to use my oppressed status to feel entitled, because isn't that exactly the right wing commentary on quote unquote wokeism?
Dude, it's
So
literally like their exact argument against affirmative action,
uh,
unironically.
yeah, so like I'm not necessarily down with Shawn Michaels making a gimmick that's like every conservative's idea of an oppressed person. Like,
I mean,
oh,
dude, tell
so
me this
what?
isn't literally just Joe Gacy's original NXT gimmick done with a different, color to it.
Right, right. Which might even make it worse in its own way. But regardless, yeah. Um, I will say too, just on a more general level outside of the gimmick, um, he really has no, when you have got Trick and Oba sharing a ring,
It
you
really
better come with some
exposes
fucking
your
presence.
ass. Your zero aura having ass.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Like, no aura going on,
He's
nothing
just
going
there in the
on.
ring seething. Half the crowd's chanting, "Leave, Eddie, leave," or something like that. Like, oh my god, dude, you are such a joke.
Yeah, it was bad.
Oh man.
Um, so yeah, that was that segment. I really liked Oba and Trick going back and forth. I agree with Foster that I feel like this was one of Trick's finest hours on the mic as well. But
Really?
I gotta say too, Oba did really well here.
I mean, yeah, Oba shined. I'm surprised that you guys are heaping the praise on Trick's mic work here because I know that he definitely kind of tripped over a few words in his promo, especially when he was talking to Thorpius.
Yeah. Maybe because he was like, shit, now I gotta like lower my level because this guy has no aura, and I was just with the guy that has all the aura. But yeah, it's interesting because I love the line from Oba, more or less telling Trick like, hey, the only reason you have everything you have is because I allowed you to have it.
Yes, and
Like,
it's fucking
the,
true too. Like Oba was perfectly content just being NXT's North American champion, God King, but like then Tony D was like, "You're not allowed to have that anymore," and Oba was like, "You know what? Fuck you, but especially fuck settling for second best anymore."
and then Trick's just like, well, what the fuck did I do? And he's like, you know what you did.
You existed in a world where I want what you have.
And I'm God, so who are you to say no to me?
Yeah.
um, but yeah, that was that whole segment. I'll tell you, I really can't wait for their match at New Year's Evil. I was gonna say Stand and Deliver, but no, New Year's Evil. It's fucking going down. And yeah, it's just it's really gonna be something, man. I really hope Oba wins. If Trick does retain, you're gonna have to do a lot of explaining about that to me because I don't see how you lose this if you're Oba. So yeah, I guess what came after this? I feel like we're almost done here.
Gigi and
Uh
Tatum versus Fatal Influence. Boo.
God, and Fatal Influence won, but Shotzi's returned, and that's interesting. So that's cool. That's really
I
cool.
really don't
Uh,
like that the weakest two members of Fatal Influence were able to beat this team because this is like a really good team. Gigi and Tatum is like these are like two women that I would hope would be able to beat Fallon Henley one on one, like either one of them. And like Fallon's two like lessers just beat them in a tag match straight up.
Yeah, also, I don't like that this doesn't seem to be leading to Gigi challenging for the Women's North American Championship. So that's a
Do you
bit
think it's leading to
disappointing.
Shotzi challenging?
I don't know what it's leading to anymore, to be honest. But we know
I
that
mean, I think we're
Shotzi's back.
definitely going to get a 6-woman tag.
Yeah, definitely.
Maybe we'll
Definitely.
get Gigi pinning Fallon in that to lead to the North American Women's Championship match.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Because I
Uh
maybe I did undersell it because Fallon did help Fatal Influence win this from the outside. It's not like they won clean.
yeah. Yeah. Because the whole story is Fatal Influence has the numbers, but then we have Ty Spears doing his creepy thing.
Wait,
He
what?
tried. Wait, what?
When did he show up? Was he? Did he show up
Well, he
during
didn't
the
show up in this.
match?
Remember, he tried recruiting Izzy Dame this week, and then Izzy Dame
Oh,
told him off.
yeah.
So I don't know if he's gonna try GG again or if that was just like a one-off thing. So like I'm kind of confused with this whole thing because if Ty is done with Gigi, great. I mean, get a job, stay away from her. I've been saying that, from the jump. And really, I like the idea that Tatum finally has friends that isn't Lyra. I mean, Tara forever. Let's not get it twisted. But Lyra is on Raw. She's not going to be on NXT every week. So I want Tatum to have other relationships that we can follow from week to week. And Gigi and Shotzi being kind of her girls is very exciting to me. And honestly, I'm going to be truthful. I had forgotten about Shotzi, but her coming back did make
Same.
me happy. I was like, cool. Shotzi's cool.
Yeah.
Um, I know
You
that
and
she
I
was
have
dealing with a lot.
both liked Shotzi for a while.
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I know she's been going through some personal stuff with her sister. I don't know what like the latest update is on that. I just hope it's okay. I hope that she's doing okay. Because that was a lot for her to deal with. But yeah, I mean, this should be fun. I don't know if this is gonna lead to like a big hodgepodge for the women's North American title because even backstage, we gotta remember it seemed like JC and Fallon had a little bit of tension because JC was like, "Oh my God, Gigi's so obsessed with me," and Fallon was like,
Oh
no, she
yeah,
wants
that's
my North
right. I
American championship."
forgot about that. I'm glad you brought that up.
And so, yeah, we might already be seeing cracks in Fatal Influence. Like, gee, that lasted long. So, yeah, the women's undercard seems like kind of a hot mess to me a little bit, just a little bit. And I'm curious how Sean is gonna, where he's gonna go with it. But yeah, Ty Spears wanting to recruit a woman in his like fucking D tier fucking faction. Like, I hope Izzy Dame doesn't take the bait after a few weeks because Izzy, trust me, you're far more talented. I'd rather you be call up and run with Kiana again when she comes back.
That'd be nice.
Um,
Where
because that
is
was a
Kiana, by the way? I was really hoping that she'd be in the Women's Intercontinental Championship tournament, but I don't
you
think
and me
she's
both.
even in that bracket. Like you picked 12 women and you couldn't even throw Kiana in there. Throw Kiana a fucking bone, please. Jesus Christ.
I don't know if she's recovering from something because didn't she get like plastic surgery of some kind and she might be recovering currently?
I don't know. There are rumors that she got breast implants, but I don't even know for sure if that's true or not.
The internet's such a cesspool, bro. I don't even know what to believe anymore. But whatever's going on with Kiana, fucking fix it. I want to see her on my goddamn TV. Um, yeah. So we already kind of talked about Axiom and Frazier, how they got to defend against Gallus, but the whole thing was like they're each trying to prove to each other what a good friend and tag partner they are, and it ends up that Axiom has two matches next week because he also has to face Obafemi. Thanks for being the latest sacrifice, you veiled face fuck. God, I hate those dweebs. I really, if it wasn't fucking Gallus, I wish it was OTM or anybody else because I'd be rooting for them, but I'm actually rooting for them because I hate Gallus that much.
Yeah.
Fuck. Um, Tony D beats Ethan, and Ethan's like, I don't know what to do now. I don't care. Just leave. God, do we think he's just going to go to the main roster already, or do we think he's going to get repackaged with some kind of new gimmick?
Who's
Um,
this?
Ethan Page, because he
Oh,
lost Tony D, and then he's like, I don't know what to do
I mean,
now.
dude, he's going on 40. He's been around for almost 20 years. He might as well go to the main roster and get something now. Like you get some value out of him. Christ, like he's what's left for him to do in NXT? You're not going to just fucking. I mean, you already had him win the world title and then put Trick over and then lose to the North American champion. You're not going to have him go after the Heritage Cup. You're not going to have. Well, you know what? If they're still in this partnership with TNA, maybe they could bring in Josh Alexander and have him do a tag title run. I don't fucking know.
Yeah, maybe. Um, And so, yeah, then we get our women's tag match, which I already talked about. So we're done. And the slate for NXT next week is Trick Williams versus Eddie Ford for the NXT Championship, Fraxium versus Gallus tag titles, Obafemi versus Axiom, and Lash Legend and Jakara will be facing Solruka and Zarya in a tag match.
Yes.
So, decent enough card.
I really hate the Gallus stuff, but everything else looks fun.
Exactly. All right, that's NXT. Again, I did see some AEW stuff. I really don't want to fucking talk about it though. Fuck AEW. I don't care. Mariah May is the best thing on there. I don't even know if she's getting fucking paid enough. Probably not. And yeah, so
That
I
is
guess
one. You know what though? That is one thing about AEW that we do need to give at least some credit to is that at the bare minimum, even if they don't handle health situations super well, like they don't have their own like in-house doctors team like WWE does, and I don't think that they provide health insurance, and that it's up to the workers to do that for themselves. AEW pays wrestlers way better than anyone else, including WWE. If you are just after your nut, AEW is the place to go.
yeah, you know what? That is fair. I won't even fight you on that. All right, so let us get then. Well, let me just ask you: did you do any extracurriculars this week?
Well, I mean, I did catch the Mariah May stuff and Tony Storm's return, but that's also the extent of my other stuff too.
Yeah, that's the extent of my other stuff as well. So let's open the forum for questions. I can only imagine the questions we're going to get because we also know about other things that happened this week in the world of wrestling. So,
Oh God, that's right. Yeah, that's a whole thing, isn't it?
yes, caster sales immediately. Do you think Kaiser will beat Breaker next Raw for the IC title? No.
No. What is your deal with Kaiser, bro?
I mean, it is a genuine question because Kaiser is challenging next week. I just feel like, no, Breaker's going to eat Kaiser for lunch. So,
And as he should. Or Sheamus is going to be like, hey, Kaiser, fuck you. You cost me one. I'm going to cost you one now. And we're going to get another fucking triple threat or something. I don't know.
yeah, something. Yeah, so no, caster. Breaker's winning.
Or Kaiser wins by DQ.
Yeah, Kaiser wins by DQ, thus prolonging the inevitable. Foster, thoughts on Naito and Hiramu winning World Tag League and facing off at Wrestle Kingdom? You know what? Good for them. I wish I cared about New Japan, but I do like both those guys. Them winning World Tag League, just you saying it sounds pretty fucking wholesome to me. Here's to hoping they win the tag titles and they have a banger match at Wrestle Kingdom. I wish them the best.
Javaris, we will answer this question, but I really don't like us insulting people for physical attributes that they have no control over.
I think I know what he's referring to. I was even going to tell him I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about, but I think I do. So just to answer that question, it's a late entry for my WTF moment of the year. I'll tell you that much. And so yeah, I mean, if it pays off for him, cool. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
not
I mean,
watching, whatever.
let's just
It
rip the band-aid off. He's talking about Tessa Blanchard.
I know, and
And
so I
Tessa
guess
Blanchard, like there are plenty of things that we can talk shit about Tessa Blanchard for that don't involve insulting things that she has no control over. And plenty of things
yeah,
we can talk shit about her for things that she does have plenty of control over. Like the shit that she's talked in the past, racist comments she's made in the past, stuff like that. We can talk shit about her without resorting to hurling insults that are going to make other people who are insecure about their own selves feel like shit.
yeah, that is a fair point. So let's just try and keep those comments to what we can criticize it for. And in that spirit, I personally look, I believe that everybody can be redeemed and be better, sure, but that doesn't mean that I have an obligation then as a company to take a chance on that person if I
Dude,
feel like in the broader public side they're radioactive. Like look, I'll give a perfect example, honestly. You look at Jimmy Havoc, right? He got caught with some wild fucking shit, I think like domestic abuse and shit. Like the man or not, haven't heard a peep out of him in fucking years because he's a delivery guy now. Hasn't done wrestling in years, is just quietly living his life. I don't know if he's getting in trouble or not my problem. But at least he's not trying to get back into the business. So you know what? Honestly, compared to literally every other trash bag ever, I'll give Jimmy Havoc some credit for that. Like he's just moved on from his life. He's left pro wrestling behind. Hopefully he's doing better. I don't know. I don't know. I don't care to know. But these people that, do really shitty fucking things and still feel like entitled to like the big aspects of their industry, it kind of rubs me the wrong way. I don't know the work that Tessa Blanchard's been doing. The burden of proof is on her, right? I didn't spit in a black woman's face and call her the N-word. Tessa Blanchard did. So the burden of proof is on her. Now, apparently, her and I forget the woman she even did it
I
to be
know who it
fair.
is. It's La Rosa Negra.
Okay. They apparently made up allegedly and they're cool and that's their prerogative, but still as a company I would feel a certain way about giving Tessa Blanchard a platform.
Yeah.
That's just me. So
I'll also
again,
say literally, and here's my thing. The day that this happened, earlier on in the day, Sean Ross Sapp reported that Jordan Grace had pushed back on working with Tessa. And who did Tessa debut by attacking?
Jordan Grace.
Bingo. That, to me, is an unsafe work environment. When you have somebody actively, like, campaigning against bringing someone in, and the first thing that you do when you do bring that person in is have them work with the person that was campaigning against it, you're basically just signing up for bad shit to happen in the ring. That's like, you're like, I understand professionalism and all that shit, but like, why would you even roll the dice on that? Why would you even be like, oh yeah, we know that Jordan doesn't like Tessa, but we're gonna make her cooperate with Tessa anyway. Jordan's a professional, and I don't expect anything to happen, at least on her end. But why would you even rely on Jordan being a professional in that instance when you have a whole ass division that you could use Tessa with? And Jordan's apparently not even going to be around for more than like another month and a half because her contract expires in January. You could literally put Tessa against fucking anyone, and you chose to go out of your way to book her against the one woman who was actively, publicly campaigning against bringing her back. That is scumbag shit, and not the fun kind either.
No, not even. No, I'm not even. This is not the time for bits or shit. I am taking this 1000% seriously because, again, for me, this is a late entry for what the fuck moment of the year in the worst way. Before the front runner, I got to be honest, was the New Day promo on Big E, but at least that seems to be turning some kind of a profit. Um, this is just a whole like this is like an industry level scumbag thing. This isn't like an even in character or like poor booking or whatever, which is still bad, but at least forgivable, right? Sometimes bad business is just bad business. This though is in a completely different ball game, and yeah, it's a shame too because like I've been keeping my finger ever so tentatively on the pulse of TNA because I'm like, maybe they are kind of turning around some stuff. Nah, man, between this and like Moose kind of fat shames, like, nah, I'm good. I'm good.
Dude,
I'm
we've
kind of
known about TNA for so long. Like, the fact that
yeah.
they've still, even to this day, continued to employ Sammy Callahan. Jesus fucking Christ. And
That is true. That is true too. That is true
fucking
too.
Steve, what's his face, formerly Steve Cutler, and like, it's just, the list goes on and on. Like, TNA is just a toxic fucking company. And even if Scott D'Amore was booking it pretty well for a while, it's just, we just won't touch it. It's just not worth it at all to even worry
Let's
about.
yeah. Let's
Honestly,
yeah
Maple Leaf Pro actually looks genuinely promising, to be honest. Like,
yeah.
Scott D'Amore's new company is actually looking pretty solid. I don't know if you've seen any of their shows, but like, shit, it's actually looking pretty good.
Yeah, I heard very little about it. Might have to circle back to that. So we're gonna scroll back up here and get the questions that we've missed. So Super Blue first. How do you feel about Ricochet getting booed in AEW? It seems like the first thing AEW fans have really done right, in my opinion.
That
Fuck
is
Ricochet.
hilarious. I didn't know that he was getting booed there already. I'm not surprised, first of all, and it's perfect and hilarious, second of all. I mean, AEW's fan base is definitely a broken clock because they are wrong most of the time, but man, they get it right. And they really fucking nail it every now and then. Like, they were booing Cody really hard towards the tail end of his run there, and man, did they nail it then. I know that they were chanting for Chris Jericho to retire relatively recently, and that's what led to the whole learning tree gimmick. and even just now with fucking Ricochet, they really nail it sometimes. It's like 98% of the time they're terrible, but those 2% they are fucking hitting, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, let's see. Caster, did you see Gunther's promo on Raw? If yes, what are your opinions on it? I did see it. I thought it was good. Gunther is a complete package to me. I got no fucking problems with the dude. My problem really is with his booking and like doing this kind of weird thing of, am I losing my touch or am I not? Dude, you're a fucking mountain and you're on top of the world. Like, it just feels very artificial, the complex. It doesn't feel earned. Um, Especially because like you've been retaining the title against all of your doubters anyway. So maybe it would make a bit more sense if you went on a bit of a losing streak, like a month-long losing streak, but you lost one match, you immediately got back on the horse and you're winning again. Like I really don't like his presentation right now in that way. But when it comes to stuff that's in his control, dude's fucking flawless.
Dude,
And
losing to Cody ruined Gunther's fucking life. What the fuck, WWE, are you doing?
Dude, I know, because when you look at Gunther, the man and the performer, I love this dude. Like, we were just talking about trash in the business. This dude keeps his head down, minds his fucking business. Like, if I was a promoter and somebody was telling me that somebody started some shit, I at least know it's not Gunther. And if it was, I'd sell my house because I'd lose that bet. I mean, the quintessential fucking professional. I wish every locker room had a Gunther in it because what he does incredibly well, and he doesn't start any fucking problems. So why are you trying to cause him problems by giving him this kind of writing? And fuck Cody Rhodes.
Yeah.
God damn it. I hate him so much, but that's a John problem, and it's whatever.
It's an us problem, bud.
I know. And so next question here. Javaris, also thoughts on the Motor Gold show headline Buddy Utami versus Sari. I mean, I'm hyped, Javaris. I mean, January 3rd is going to be a hell of a show.
Dude, I am getting so anxious about that show because of fucking Sakurai.
I was just about to say before you even said it, dude. I was literally going to say I'm worried for Ash, though, because Sakurai might become United National Champion.
Oh, my God.
Fuck. I will hug you if it goes south, bud. I promise.
I really love that for me, and I really will appreciate that hug, but no one hug is going to undo the fuckery that is the shitter winning the second most important title in the company.
There needs to be a branch of therapy exclusively for wrestling fans, like hurt by booking in certain companies. Just go in there. So what seems to be the problem? Sakurai.
I think the secret is just to stop caring.
It is, but then, I mean, I feel like you and I are already kind of close, because I know you and I have said, like, getting older and everything else and seeing the state of the business, that, like, there is good shit. I mean, look at us, like, heap praise on Oba and the women's wrestling and WWE and stuff like that. But by and large, I still feel very disconnected to the industry. And yeah, Sakurai getting a major championship, that's not for me. Super Blue asked, okay, I'm keeping track of these questions. How do you feel about the New Day getting booed out the building last Monday? It could be the start of something promising, but I have to agree with Ash and other people that have said all of this hinges on, does Big E get cleared? Because it seems like they are doing this long form storytelling. You know, Kofi was wearing the Majin necklace again. I don't think that was an accident. I should also point out, Xavier Woods was also wearing a pin on his shirt, and I couldn't quite make it out, but I assume it's the medical symbol of like I feel like it's like a snake or something wrapped around like a syringe, kind of that like, symbol of like health or whatever, because he is Dr. Woods or whatever.
Blue Shield type shit?
I don't know. Well, no, I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean, God, there's heat, and then there's like, are you trying to, start something here, Woods? I think it's just, again, it's a well-known medical symbol. I let me even Google it and get a proper name for it. Give me a second. But all I'm saying is like these guys, they know how to do long form storytelling. They're very creative guys. They've been in the business for fucking ever. And so yeah, I'm trying to pay attention to every little detail. And so, yeah, Kofi wearing that necklace again. Okay, so the medical symbol that features a snake is the rod of Asclepius, which I remember because he was like the god of of healing and stuff in the Greek world, in Greek mythos. Plato in the Phaedo has Socrates say, I offer this cock to Asclepius because he was about to die after drinking the hemlock. So yeah, it's a snake around a rod. And so yeah, let's see. They call it the do you pronounce it caduceus? But they say it's a staff with two snakes coiled around it. It is the official insignia of the United States Medical Corps, Navy Farming Division, and the Public Health Service. It's the magic wand carried by Hermes, messenger of the gods. So I don't know if there's less meaning behind Woods' pin than Kofi's, because Kofi, all anime fans know, it's DBZ, it's Majin, it's Babidi, it's all that stuff. But yeah, the boos were great. Again, it all hinges to me
They
on
also
Biggie returning.
they also learned from Dom, uh, just typical like a new fun little trick in the old heel bag of like rather than trying to talk through the booze, as soon as the booze get a little too loud, you just cut yourself off, and then it makes it seem like the booze are like overwhelming you to the point that you can't get a word in edgewise, when in reality you're doing it on purpose to emphasize the booze. That's what Dom Dom's been doing for a long time now, and it seems like the New Day picked up on that little trick and they're taking advantage of it as well.
Hell yeah, people learning from each other and not letting their like seniority blind them that they need to learn anything new. You love to see it. Um, so yeah, I think it'll be great. But again, Biggie, I think is like the deciding factor of, is this going to be good, or is this going to be, just like a head scratcher? But I mean, kudos to Woods and Kofi. They're really trying to make this work, man. And if anybody can pull it off, I have faith in these guys. So Foster. So did Eddie just lie down and act hurt, or did he beat himself up and really sell it? Well, Foster, you fucking handsome, magnificent human being, I think he just laid down and really acted hurt. Would have been nice though if he gave himself a few punches to really sell it, but I don't think he did too much. Javaris, thoughts on Nane retiring? About fucking time. Good riddance.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's not going to be until May, which means that we still have to endure her existence for 6 more fucking months or 5 more fucking months.
Well, I mean, we won't have to endure it because we skip her matches, bro. We're the smart ones. We're like, yeah, you have fun with that. No.
But we still
Let's
have to like. I know that we don't watch her matches, but that also means that there are matches that could have otherwise been good that she's going to be ruining for 5 more months.
That is a fair counterpoint, and that does make me sad. But I know we can make it. We've made it through a lot worse. God, the things we do for pro wrestling. And the things that pro wrestlers do for pro wrestling, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely fuck Moose Javaris. I will definitely sign on to that. Dude's had problems for a long
Dude,
time.
yeah, like Javaris has shown me before that like Moose has had some weird like anti-black woman shit in the past, and now like he's pro Tessa, which literally feeds into the anti-black woman shit from before, and now like he is also like fat shaming people publicly. Like, yeah, no, as talented and freaky as Moose is as just a straight up wrestler, yeah, he's a real piece of shit as a person.
Yeah, you're a real asshole, my dude. Heel. Um, Stop being a heel and heel. Uh, let's see. Super Blue. Did you see how buff Bandito looks in his return on YouTube? I mean, it's Bandito. Like, of course he's gonna be pure sex in human form. I mean, to be honest, I really missed him, and seeing him, it's good to have a reason to fan myself again that isn't Obafemi, because God should only be allowed to do so much. But yeah, it's great to see Bandito back, insanely talented.
I miss
And to be
him.
honest, I just wish AEW was a better company, because this dude should be an international fucking sensation as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Yeah, and let's not get it twisted, because I haven't said this in a long time, given the tirades I've gone on. That man veils his face for my benefit. And honestly, I thank him. He knows how deeply insecure I am. And he's like, John, I know you only lash out because of you, not because of me. And then I tear up and I'm like, you're right. Why is it so hard? And then we hug, and then I wake up and nobody claps.
What the
So
fuck?
I know I got a lot going on. Uh, so yeah, I hope Bandito does well. We'll have to see. Super Blue. If Charlotte returns tonight, do you think she attacked Jade Cargill? I actually loved, what was it? Who was it? Because I want to give them proper credit. wait, I gotta go on our server here. Give me a second, guys. I don't think it should
Mhm.
be that long. Yeah, it was Umbra. It was fucking Umbra, who I hope is doing well. He postulated that it was Naomi that attacked Jade, and I'm like, ooh, that's interesting because Naomi did benefit from Jade being out because she got slotted in Jade's spot for those women's tag titles. And did,
Yeah.
yeah, Umbra. Did you see Umbra's messages, bro, in the Discord?
Yes, I did, as a matter of fact. And then, like, at first, I was like, I don't know. And then I read the last message that he sent, and I was like, oh, this has legs.
Yeah, dude, it does because like he does make a logical case to his credit. I mean, Bianca
Yeah.
and Jade, they didn't have Naomi's back. Bailey did though.
Exactly, because they said they would have Naomi's back, and then they didn't, right? And
Yeah,
then,
and then she lost that match to Nia. So maybe if you guys were out there and were true friends, I'm
yeah.
just saying. Uh,
Then, by Jade getting attacked, Naomi's close friend that Bianca and Jade don't trust, Bailey, replaced Jade in the War Games match, right?
yeah,
And Bailey has historically had Naomi's back consistently.
yes,
So yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's a very distinct possibility, and especially because, like, I was initially under the very, like, I was fully convinced that it was just Raquel and Liv that did it, but, like, there haven't been any implications that it's anyone other than a member of the SmackDown roster. And Piper's name has been cleared. So at this point, it's gonna be a surprise, no matter who it is. So yeah, man, maybe it is just Naomi. Yeah, I kind of dig the theory. Actually, I kind of dig the theory.
you know who actually I feel really bad for, like in kayfabe and all this, is Bailey, because like I love Bianca to death, but let's be real, I guarantee you she's gonna try and give Bailey some shit of like, what did you say to Naomi, or like whatever, have her do this, and then Bailey is gonna be conflicted because she cares about Naomi, but she can't ride with Naomi like this. It's like I don't really support you doing this. And then Naomi's probably gonna tell Bailey, well, then fuck you too, then. I thought you were my one true friend. I thought we were
Well,
gonna dominate this stuff
well,
together.
see, man, that's
This
my thing though. Is how will Bailey react? Will Bailey be like, "Damn, Naomi, you did all of that for me"?
I mean, look, I'm not saying that I'm a very emotionally broken person, but if it was me, I would be like, thank you, Naomi, and I would
Yeah,
embrace it, you
yeah.
know? But
Or
but
is
I don't
Bailey
know.
gonna be like, "What the hell, Naomi? What's your problem? You're really fucked up in the head. I can't be associated with you anymore." But I don't think Bailey would do that though, because that would alienate her from literally everyone. She would literally have zero friends at that point. Like, Sasha's gone. Bianca doesn't trust her. Naomi would be the one that she'd be alienating. Like, she'd be alone at that point. So I don't think Bailey's gonna do that. There's no way. So the only choice Bailey really has left is to be a sycophant to Naomi at that point, which I kind of want to see.
I mean, what would you do in this situation as one of the more emotionally well-adjusted people, in our little dynamic here? Would you embrace Naomi, or would you be like, I don't know, that seemed pretty toxic, maybe get help?
I don't know. That seems pretty toxic. Maybe get help. And maybe then by rejecting the person who just put Jade through a fucking car windshield, you can endear yourself to Bianca a little more and earn her trust.
I mean, look, man, not to be that guy, but I mean, the way you said it, I mean, yeah, it was through, quote, a fucking car windshield. But I mean, worse things have happened. I don't know, maybe relax a little there. I don't know. Foster makes a great point, actually, that maybe she did it to herself like Thorpe. You
You
would have to
know,
slip
I
a
read
hell of a
that and I didn't want to dignify it with a response. So, of course, you would.
look, I'm not trying to say that Foster's right. I'm just saying you would have to slip on one hell of a banana peel for that chain of events to occur.
Yeah.
Okay? I mean, goddamn. Um, so
I
yeah,
guess
let's
maybe Alex has been watching a little too much Jackass.
you know what, maybe. But
People
you know what,
throwing
Foster? I
themselves at
appreciate
car windshields. Jesus Christ.
yeah. But you know what, Foster? I appreciate you for coming to Naomi's defense as she deserves. And also, hi, Hazardous. Great to see you.
Morris in chat just popped me. He said, like, bro, a whole ass car windshield? Nah, Naomi, you kind of wild and sweet pea. He
Look,
called her sweet pea after all that.
in the words of that one fan to Dean Ambrose as he was beating the shit out of Seth Rollins, she had a
For a
right to
reason.
turn heel. She
She
had a
has a
reason.
reason.
I'm willing to hear Naomi's reason, okay?
Maybe her reason is like literally just fuck Jade and fuck Bianca, and they're mean to Bailey.
Honestly, that's
And
good enough for me. If I was Bailey and I knew somebody did that for me, I'm like, holy shit, nobody's ever had my back like that ever. Hell yeah. Like, but Bailey's face now, and she's gonna like talk about how she's trying to
well,
be a
no, but
better
that's the thing
person.
though, is like that's the reason though. That's gonna be like Naomi's reason is gonna be like, where were y'all when I had my match with Nia? You said that you had my back earlier that night, and I ended up, I could have beaten Nia if you would have had my back. But you know who did have whose back is that fucking Tiffany had Nia or Candice or whoever the fuck held in the match. I don't even remember. Had
Yeah.
Nia's back, and no one was there to have my back. So what the hell happened?
You know what? Javaris is right. We've been looking in the wrong direction all the time. This is all
Of
Jimmy
course.
Uso's fault. Fucking
Yeah.
scrub decides to have dreams and everything goes to shit.
I think I
Fuck.
enjoy these shows better when you don't read chat.
Yeah. But no, I think Javaris just has a point there. Like, yeah, this is all Jimmy Uso's fault. Of course it
You
is. It's
said that
always Jimmy
way
Uso's
too
fault.
sincerely, like you actually believed it. What the hell?
He sucks. Fuck Jimmy Uso.
He got Claymore this week. He already got his fucking whatever the word
Says
is.
you, but you never go far enough. That's your fucking problem.
Oh
I
my
don't think Jimmy
god.
suffered enough yet.
Of course you
He'd
don't.
suffer more, goddammit.
You're
All right.
exhausting sometimes.
Oh, the feeling's mutual. Super Blue. Who gave Temu Bloodline the right to waste LA Knight because they ain't good enough to beat him? Well, that's not even a legitimate question. And
It's also
honestly,
a week old.
yeah, I told you that this was going to happen when you were talking shit about Kevin Owens. LA Knight got exactly what he deserved. Uh,
So you say I don't go far enough. LA Knight didn't get nearly as much as he deserves.
you know what? We actually agree on that. We actually agree on that. That he should have gotten at least 2 more spikes to irreparably damage the windpipe, so
He
that we
should
can
have
cut
gotten
those.
the fucking
Yeah,
chair wrapped around his neck and the ass to the face with the chair wrapped around the neck.
it is true. I mean, if it's good enough for Jimmy Uso, it's good enough for LA Knight for sure.
Yeah, knock his ass out for a few fucking months. Get him off my TV.
Yeah. Um. Let's see. Let's see. Okay. Super Blue. How do you feel about Kevin's promo last night and the ass whooping he gave to Cody? I think Kevin is a brilliant mic worker. I think, the WWE put out a video, Kevin Owens retrospective, where he's kind of looked at his WWE career since he's been in the company 10 years now, which is crazy. I think he's been a pillar of the company and one of the more understated pillars in the company. I think you can always count on him to deliver a fucking promo. I think him wearing a Stardust shirt was fucking hilarious and telling Cody to his face that the best part of your career was Stardust. And yeah, I love him. I love him. I definitely stand a lot of problematic people in character, but Kevin Owens, even if he would become fully problematic in the eyes of everyone here again, I would still stand with Kevin Owens. He's that fucking good. I love him. Amazing. And yeah, Cody got exactly what he deserved too. Fuck Cody Rhodes. Um, I fucking love you, Foster. Javaris. Oh no, that wasn't a question. Caster said he asked a question before. Oh, that's right. Do you think Roman will beat Solo for the Ulafala? I kind of just hope he does to end the story for good. Like, I don't really see what else you do after this, given that they already won War Games. So I'm gonna say yes. Do you think Roman is gonna beat Solo or no?
I really hope so.
Yeah. All right. Well, there we go. Um, let's see. Caster, do you think the match between Seth and Punk will be the end of it or just the beginning? Oh, definitely just the beginning. I mean, you're talking it's Seth Rollins and CM Punk. You don't take stars of that caliber. And I don't like CM Punk at all, but I can't deny his value to the company. You don't take guys like that and do just a one off. No, this is just the beginning of the program for sure. Any other questions, y'all?
Y'all Reno.
All right, given that it's almost 6:30, I do want to get out of here because I mean, Saturday night's main event is going to be at 8, so I'm going to do going once. Going twice. Going 3 times. Closing the gate. All right. Final. Oh, wait. No. I did not answer your question, Blue. That's going to be the last question I answer, though. I got to find it.
Will
God,
Drew
yeah.
interfere with tribal combat after wasting Jimmy Uso?
Maybe. I don't discount the possibility, but honestly, I'm going to say no. I'm going to keep it simple, and I'm going to say no. But I'm not discounting the possibility. Do you think any interference is going to happen from, like, non-bloodline people?
Probably, yeah.
So you do think so. You could see
Yeah,
Drew interfering.
I
Okay.
think like Drew, Seth, Sammy, it's tribal combat. Everyone's gonna be there.
All right. High spots, low shots. Oh God. You know what? My low shot's Axiom. He's got himself 2 fucking matches next week because he doesn't know how to communicate with his tag partner. So yeah, Axiom's my low shot this week. Who's your low shot?
Um, hmm. My low shot is Ethan Page.
Makes perfect sense. High spot to me, you know what? Honorary high spot, Eddie Thorpe. Because I mean he did connive his way into an NXT championship match. And yep, there you go. And I have to respect it. Actual high spot though, you know what? Because I may not have a reason to give it later tonight, I'm gonna say Kevin Owens. Loved his promo again. I love his t-shirt trolling that he's been doing for years. In fact, even in the retrospective they uploaded when he was being completely out of character and sincere, he was wearing a Dusty Rhodes t-shirt. This dude is next fucking level. So Kevin Owens is my high spot in my fucking heart. So who's your high spot?
Chelsea Green.
That's a great. And dude, honestly, one more thing about that, since I know we did say we're going to have Ron's man anyway, but real quick about that. First of all, I love that pick. Second of all, kudos to Bayley for really wanting to put Chelsea over because I thought they were just going to give Chelsea a count out win, and Bayley was like, no, have her pin me in that fucking ring. And
Yeah, and I don't
thank you,
think
Bayley.
Piper ever even got involved in the match, did she?
No, I don't think she did. Not that I saw in the recap
Chelsea
I watched.
won that shit clean as fuck.
Thank you, Bayley. Appreciate it
With the
sincerely.
unprettier too. I love that.
I know. God,
Classic
if she hits that on me.
Canadian finisher.
Exactly. All right, guys. That was in review. We've got Saturday Night's Main Event in just a little over an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Be sure to be there. We're live reacting to the whole show. Should be a fun time. Be sure to like the video, follow out, subscribe to the bell icon notifications so you don't miss any of that TWitWoW goodness. Check out everything we're involved in the description box. Follow us on Blue Sky and Twitch. Our handles are in the background here, and I think it's also linked in the description box. You guys know everything else. And again, Saturday Night's Main Event Live Reactions is our last recording for the week. Then next week, we just do it all over again on the road to our last Q&A and year-end awards, which, again, I really have to fill in. But mentally, I've been thinking about other categories. So hopefully it won't be as bad as I'm thinking it will be. But yeah, Saturday Night's Main Event. Hopefully it's a fun show. Be good to yourselves and each other. Tune in and peace out.